Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles, and I welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamerspro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And today we have another interesting episode for you guys, so make sure you go ahead and like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. So, as y'all know, the situation with Kyrie Irving and the Brooklyn Nets is truly an unprecedented one. There's never been anything like this. Obviously, this started with the global pandemic, right? It just completely threw things out of whack and really shook up the entire universe, it seemed. And from the start of that situation until now, it has truly been one of these things where just like you never really know where the story is going, and there's so much uncertainty around it. As all of you are fully aware, Kyrie Irving wasn't allowed to play in Barclays due to a New York City mandate that was put out there, and that particular mandate has sparked a lot of conversation. Some people have said this thing doesn't make sense. How can Kyrie not be able to play in the home games, which you have opposing players who are not vaccinated, they can come and play? There's so many different things, right? There's so many different talking points that people have been arguing back and forth, and everyone seems to have an opinion on this matter, which is everyone's right. You have a right to have your opinion. Now, as you know, initially, the Nets told Kyrie Irving that he would not be able to play unless he was 100% available for those games. Because remember, Kyrie Irving stated that he was not going to get vaccinated. That's the whole point here, right? Because Kyrie doesn't want to get the vaccine. And therefore, since he's not vaccinated, New York City doesn't allow any play. So that's where really all of this thing started from. So as time went on, the Brooklyn Nets later changed their minds and reversed the decisions, and then said that, listen, you know what, Kyrie, you can play now. Right. And this created some more conversation, right? Because the people like the Nets look weak, they're looking decisive, all of these different things. So Kyrie Irving was then allowed to play on road games, and he was also paid for road games, right? So now Kyrie Irving has been playing on road games, and it seems that some people out there have been, they've been kind of hopeful that maybe in the future, and the future is actually this present moment, because back then that was the hope, that this thing will be turned around. And a lot of this optimism growing around Kyrie Irving was centered on the fact that the new New York City mayor Eric Adams, said that he was going to reverse the policy, right? Which would allow Kyrie Irving to be able to play in home games. There was a segment on ESPN First Take where Jay Williams and Stephen A. Smith were even discussing this at length. But and after the Brooklyn Nets came off a very impressive win against the reigning champs, the Milwaukee Bucks, where Kyrie Irving scored 38 points, I think many people started to believe that this decision was going to be imminent, like it was just right around the corner. But it seems like this situation may have taken a turn for the worse. According to a report that we got from CBS Sports.com, it seems as if Kyrie Irving may not be able to return at all. So I want to quickly get into this article here so we can come back and give you guys our thoughts. The article starts off with the headlines: Why Nets Kyrie Irving won't be able to play home games despite New York City's mayor's plans to lift the vaccine mandates. Continues. New York City Mayor Eric Adams announced on Sunday that barring any surprises, he still plans to lift the city public sector vaccine mandates on March 7th. That will not, however, clear the way for Brooklyn Nets star Kyrie Irving to play in home games at Barclays Center. Additionally, New York City's numbers continue to go down day after day. So as long as COVID indicators show a low level of risk, as we see, no surprises this week. On Monday, March 7th, we'll also be able to lift key to NYC requirements, Adams said in a press release. In Adams' announcement on Sunday, he said that all other vaccine mandates in New York City remain in place at this time, at the time that they are and have been vital to protecting of New Yorkers. The private sector mandate may be removed in the near future. ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski tweeted that there's no sense of inevitability that Irving will play in home games this season, but for now it seems in place, and Irving will not be able to suit up at Barclays Center after March 7th. It seems as if that Kyrie Irving, in fact, will not be able to play in home games. And if this is true, then it looks like the situation with Kyrie Irving and the Brooklyn Nets, in fact, hasn't improved. That it has not improved whatsoever. And now that Ben Simmons has no timetable for his return, or some of you may be unaware that Ben Simmons now doesn't have a timetable for his return, it seems that the Nets are still in limbo. That seems to be the current state of affairs with the Brooklyn Nets. And it's one of the reasons why I believe people like Kendrick Perkins, for example, Kendrick Perkins of ESPN, is picking picking the Sixers over the Brooklyn Nets. He actually picked the Sixers as the winners in that trade. Now, obviously, the Brooklyn Nets were able to acquire a lot of talent. They got a lot of talent in that deal. I think with Andre Drummond, they got Seth Curry. Obviously, they got Ben Simmons, right? So they got a lot of pieces. And the major piece that the Philadelphia 76ers were able to acquire is James Harden. And I think the reason why Kendrick Perkins believes that the Nets won is because of availability. As they say, your best ability is your availability. And as of now, James Harden has been available for the Philadelphia 76ers, and I think in the 2 games that he's played, they've won them. I think the last win that they had was against the New York Knicks. I believe it was on Sunday, right? So it seems as if that trade is bearing fruit, and I think that's one of the reasons why Kendrick Perkins is picking the Philadelphia 76ers as the winners in that trade. So here are my thoughts. I think that there's so much uncertainty surrounding the Nets, and this was something I had a bad feeling about the Nets going into this season. Right, I knew that they were going to be very talented. This was obviously before James Harden was traded away. I felt that this team, I think I said they were the favorites, but I just felt like something would derail them. Something would just derail them. And first, it was a situation with Kyrie and the vaccine mandate, and then ultimately, James Harden ultimately said, "You know what? Enough is enough. I'm out of here. I want to go be in a situation that's a little bit more stable." And I think this is one of the things that James Harden was I think this is one of the things that drove James Harden out of Brooklyn, because it wasn't a certainty, it was a hope that maybe the mandate would be lifted and Kyrie Irving would be available 100% of the time. So imagine if James Harden was still there past the trade deadline and the situation was still as it is. Kevin Durant will still be injured and Kyrie Irving will still be a road game player. So to me, I think it made sense for James Harden to just leave, because it's like, okay, there's so much uncertainty here, so why stay here? Listen, I think there are a lot of variables out there that we need to take into consideration. And as we speak, the Brooklyn Nets, I think, are the 8th or 9th seed in the Eastern Conference. And I'm not ready to pick the Nets over some other teams, because people are acting like as if the Chicago Bulls are not there. DeMar DeRozan, I think, is probably the leading candidate for regular season MVP. Or if not him, he's in the top 2 or 3. The Chicago Bulls are for real. Of course, you have the reigning champions in the Milwaukee Bucks. They're for real, and they're going to be there. We're not going to close our eyes and wish them away. Giannis is going to be there. Then, of course, you have the Miami Heat, led by Jimmy Butler and Pat Riley and these guys. They're for real. They are a real threat. They are a veteran team. They made it to the NBA Finals just 2 seasons ago. So you have them. And, of course, you have the Philadelphia 76ers. And I think Joel Embiid and these guys are going to have a point to prove. I think they want to make sure that they come out on top of this trade, even if Ben Simmons is healthy, right? So there's so many other teams out there doing well. And I think this particular development just adds more uncertainty. And right now, what I think the Nets need is certainty. We need to know, is Kyrie Irving going to be 100% available? We need to know when Ben Simmons is going to be able to play. We need to know when will Kevin Durant be able to return. So to me, the situation seems to be a mess, and this seems to be a roadblock in the way of Kyrie Irving possibly making his return. And I think it's quite disappointing because I think a lot of us want to see these teams in full health. I want to see Kyrie Irving play all of these games. I want to see Kevin Durant there, because to me, I think basketball wins when these guys play. Right? Just as like I would love to see Kawhi Leonard and Paul George return and Jamal Murray return and these guys return. I think it's good for basketball that we get the best product out there. And it's just a shame that we won't be able to see that, at least for now. So my question to you guys is, what do you think about this new development? Do you think it's going to change? Do you think Kyrie Irving at any point this season will be able to play in all the games? Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section below. Again, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to make sure you go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell to be notified whenever we drop our content. Once again, this is Charles here from Dreamerspro. Wishing you guys an amazing day and catch you guys on the next episode.